Hey guys, Meg here from WildSafe BC, and I'm here today to talk to you about what happens with the bears in the fall in the area. And so bears are going to be preparing for their winter denning, and in order to get ready for winter denning, they are going to need to increase their food intake so that they can build up their fat stores, which will help give them energy all winter long while they sleep, because they don't eat when they go into their winter denning. And so they need to have body reserves in order to survive. So that means that this time of year, bears are going to be eating as much as 20,000 calories a day. That's the equivalent of almost 80 Big Macs. That's a lot of food. But you know what the really cool thing about bears is almost 80% of their diet is actually made up of plants. So they have to eat lots of plants so that they can intake all those calories. Well, what kind of plants do bears eat to get all this calories? Let's go for a little walk with my friends from Sncewips Heritage Museum and see if we can find any bear foods in the area.
Hi, I'm friends from Sncewips Heritage Museum. Come with us and we'll learn you some plants.
Okay, so we have found our first bear food in the little community forest area here down at West Bank First Nation, and it is dandelion. Now, I bet you all have dandelion in your backyards. Dandelion is an edible plant both for humans and bears, but it's actually really important for bears because it's really high in protein. And so in the springtime, when bears first wake up from their winter denning period, they have lost not only body fat, but also some of their muscle mass. And so they need some high protein foods in order to help them put back on that muscle mass. And where do they find those high protein foods? But usually in the valley bottoms. And so if we look here, dandelion is one of those plants that bears will be looking for when they first wake up from their winter denning.
In other words, the bears need the nutrients from the dandelion to achieve a yoked out summer bod.
All right, so Coralie and I have found some more bear foods. We have found Oregon grape, and over here we have found snowberry. Now these foods are not highly preferred by bears, meaning that they're not as easily digestible as some other plants, but bears will eat them.
Another neat thing about this plant is that it's kind of like a good indicator of how harsh a winter is going to be. When these bushes get so full of berries that they're actually heavy and drooping, that's how you know you got a big snowstorm coming.
All right, up behind us here we have mountain ash. Mountain ash is a highly preferred food for black bears. And then we also, behind Coralie here, have soapberry, which not only is important for bears, but also the people of the area.
Yeah, soapberry, or hosam in Okanagan, is the juice is used to make Indian ice cream, which is not at all like the ice cream that you used to. It's a small liquid, a little bit of water, and you would froth it up until it made like a big foam. My cousins like to put a lot of sugar in it, but I believe that if it tastes good, you did it wrong.
Okay, and we just found some wild rose. This is a preferred food for bears, and it has these tasty rose hips on it.
Within our culture, rose bushes offer protection from negative energy, and often in our communities you'll see them in front of buildings, in front of houses. And it's just a nice plant that I guess protects the overall happy vibe of the community.
So we have some Saskatoon here. Saskatoon is a very important berry, both for the Okanagan peoples and for bears. Saskatoon berries are ripe in usually about June. And then behind me here, we found some choke cherry. choke cherries are ripe right now. And the reason these two plants are really important for bears is because they're high in sugar content. And that sugar content is what helps bears to put on fat, which builds up those energy stores so that they can survive the winter.
In other words, the bears need the sugary berries to maintain their yoked-out summer bods through the unforgiving winter.
We got super lucky and found ourselves a crabapple tree. I've never actually eaten a crabapple. I don't know if it's good, but I'll come back for you later.
So this apple tree is interesting in terms of bear foods because similar to berries and being high in sugar content, so is the fruit. Now, that can be a problem if you have an apple tree like me in your backyard, or maybe even a cherry or a plum, any of those wonderful Okanagan fruits that we have. They can actually attract bears. So bears are what we call opportunistic omnivores. And so what that means, because they're an omnivore, they will eat both meat and they will eat plants. But the opportunistic part means that they will eat kind of anything that they can find or have the opportunity to get.
Okay, so we showed you guys the natural foods. We showed you the crabapples, the berries, the little flower buds. We know it's time to move on to unnatural foods.
So bears, with their excellent sense of smell, can smell your garbage, we say, from probably about a whole kilometer away, and that can attract them into town, and that can lead to some conflicts when bears come close to where the people are. We found another unnatural bear food: compost. Compost can be smelly, and again, bears will find that with that really good sense of smell that they have.
It certainly does not take a bear-level sense of smell to know that this small-scale bog of eternal stench stinks.
Okay, and we just found another unnatural bear food: birdseed. Birdseed is highly nutritious and is high in calories. And so bears, if they have access to birdseed, they will eat it.
Wow. Wow.
All right, so we have found both natural and unnatural foods in the community here. When bears have access to those unnatural foods that we found, like the garbage, the birdseed, the compost, it can actually attract them into the community. So they'll be drawn in looking for easy food rewards. And when they find it and they have access to it, they'll keep coming back, and they might even start to associate people with food and make that connection that there's these easy food rewards near where people is. And when that happens, bears can actually lose their natural fear of humans, which isn't safe for us because it means that they'll come close to our houses, and they'll come close to people. And they may even start displaying behaviors that aren't safe. And what happens when bears aren't safe around humans anymore is the only option is to put the bears down. But the good news is we can all do something to prevent that. And so we have a little bit of homework for you. So we're going to ask everyone to do the Thinking Like a Bear WildSafe Ranger activity. You can pick up these activity sheets at the museum, or you can go to the WildSafe BC website, or you can email me and I will send you one. And we'll get you to do these activity sheets, and then you can join us on September 19th at 1 p.m. for a webinar. And we will go over what you found in your activity sheets, and we can talk about how to keep the bears in the community safe. There will be prizes for everyone who does a activity. Plus, you can use your creative skills and you can make a bear mask, and we can wear our bear masks during the webinar.
What is safe for bears to eat is not always safe for humans to eat. Always do your research before consuming any wild fruit, flowers, or berries.